himself, Dr. Lakin Samaj. He has really kindly honored us with his presence this afternoon, and we are eagerly awaiting his delivery. Now, even though Dr. Lakin Samaj is so well known, I would still like to tell you some more about our modern day hero. Now, Dr. Lakin Samaj is an industrial organizational psychologist, a change agent, and motivational speaker. He's a frequent facilitator for strategic planning retreats, cultural alignment, and organizational restructuring. And this is my personal favorite, sir. He's chief ideator and resultant at his company, the Job Bank. He has conducted staff selection and development programs for a wide range of sectors across the Caribbean. And Dr. Samaj has designed interventions, programs, and presentations that target the heart of the challenges faced by the entities that invite his intervention. Dr. Samaj has a BA from Lord from 1974 from the City College of New York, MSc, and a PhD from Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and a pre- and postdoctoral fellowships from Educational Testing Service, Princeton, New Jersey. In addition, the Jamaica Employees Federation has recognized Dr. Samaj for leadership in innovation workplace practices, and he is in Peter Ferguson's publication, Change Makers, as one of the 101 men who have helped to define modern-day Jamaica. He's the current chairman of the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICO, and his advisory board. Dr. Samaj has also held teaching and research posts at Rutgers and at Cornell University in the USA, and also at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And he has been involved in Jamaican media as a newspaper columnist for all the major publications. He has also been a television presenter and currently hosts the radio show Mind Yourself on RJR FM on Thursday evenings. And it goes on. Dr. Samaj and his wife own and operate a Jamanjik, I hope I got it right, did I? Santi Adonai, where they are driven to provide food security guided by spiritual principles, using traditional Jamaican farming practices and respecting the organic farming system. They are also the local forerunners in hosting eco-conscious or green entertainment events, and staged the Ashanti Adonai Literary Lime in 2011 and Jimmy's Jam, a celebration of the genius of Jimi Hendrix. And this psychologist believes that by working with our ideas, our human capital, and each other, our social capital, we can change the world. He's dedicated to the task of identifying the best practices and assisting individuals and companies to achieve them so that we can all do well by doing right. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please let us all warmly welcome Dr. Lakin Samaj.
Thank you, thank you. It sounds like the introduction is longer than my presentation. We'll see. As I was just sitting here, you know, a lot of memories came back to me in terms of the library is a critical part of my own life. When you grow up in one room in the inner city, you don't really have enough space for library books and so on. Huh? But my mother, her genius, when I was about 4, I used to have a program at the junior library on a Saturday, and she'd take me and leave me there all day. So I just spent the day at the library. And I remember when I was going to primary school, you know, Central Branch Primary, any word I heard during the week, and I didn't know the meaning of the word, I write it down. And on a Saturday, I went to the library and looked it up. I distinctly remember the first word I remember researching as a little child, R-A-P-E, rape. That's how my mind would say to her, rape. Everybody, it would be in the Star every evening. Everybody thought, what? You see what happened? You see what happened? And when I looked up the meaning of it and I saw what it meant, rape. I felt like a genius because everybody else was talking all kind of foolishness, huh? But I went to the library and I understood what the word meant. My other major intervention via library, when I was at KC in about third form, somebody showed me how to move the chess pieces. Which one is knight and which one is pawn and so on. And I beat him the next day. How you do that? I stopped at the library on the way home and I borrowed 2 books on chess and read them cover to cover. He had never heard about mid-game strategy and end-game gambit and books. So I'm a firm believer, that books can make a difference. We are now in the information age, people. And basically what that means from now on, the haves and the have-not refer to those who have information and those who choose not to have information. Okay, it's all there. In the introduction, we're talking about this whole thing about Jamaicans reading and so on. No. I don't have any such convictions. Because that sentiment that says if you want to hide something from Jamaicans, put it in a book. When last year somebody said, guess what me read? He said, guess what me hear? Guess what me hear? So I don't have those sentiments. One concern though, as I heard the excerpts, I have some concerns as how people define this concept of hero. And worse yet, modern day hero. Because I see it quite differently. Let me tell you what I see. Critical to the whole concept of being a hero is the willingness to make personal sacrifice to benefit other people. Now, you can serve other people while simultaneously serving yourself. And that's quite noble, that's quite useful. But it's not the same thing as being there's nothing heroic about that. There has to be some element of sacrifice. I heard somebody else say the whole issue about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Yes, that's a big part of it. But to take that a little further, what I see essential to the construct of hero, especially in the modern era. First, the person must perform service that takes care of somebody else's need. Whether it's a person or a group or a community or even just an idea they're defending. It involves other people. 1. 2, it must be something done voluntarily. Not somebody coerce you or make you or force you to do it. It must be voluntary. 3rd, it must be performed even though you risk danger, death, loss, ridicule. There's some anticipation of some possible loss. It's not easy. There must be some component of loss to you. And finally, it must be performed without any anticipation of gain. So many times you hear all these athletes that do all these wonderful things. Them are not a hero. Shaggy put on all kind of show. Shaggy is not no hero. When Shaggy puts on all that stuff for Buster Man the hospital, Shaggy revives his career. And Shaggy make money off of it. Alright? And Shaggy sell more albums and more CD and get more stage show. It's a calculated act. So that he gets a benefit and everybody gets a benefit. So that's a hero. Now, simply put then, the key to heroism is a concern for other people in need. Or a concern to defend a moral cause. Knowing that there's a personal risk to you and knowing that you will not get any reward. All of those components are essential for someone to be considered hero. Now, when you take this kind of approach, this definition, you realize that we now have 2 shifts. A lot of people who we used to think of as heroes don't fit this definition. And there are many other people who we never even thought of will now fit this definition. Some time ago, a couple of years ago, this airline passed this pilot that landed a plane in the East River in New York and saved all the passengers, and everybody referred to Captain Sully was his name and how heroic he was. No, that's not hero. That's a well-trained pilot. He had been a glider pilot before he piloted big planes, doing a good job. That's what he was trained for. He didn't have to, in fact, he had nothing else to do. The plane couldn't make it go anywhere else. Huh? But he did it properly, professionally, and everybody's life was saved. We respond as if that was something heroic, but not in what the word hero means. There are few people who consider themselves heroes when doing something that they had no choice about doing. In fact, many heroes, by definition, when they did what they did, had no such thought. They were just doing what they saw to be the real thing, to all they had. So for example, a single mother that makes all kind of sacrifices for her children. She's not buying no clothes for herself and all of that, just to make sure her children make it. That's hero. Personal sacrifice, risk herself. A couple who decide to, out of their meager means, foster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. That's hero. Children who put their own careers on hold because their parents are ill. They have younger siblings that are not yet made it. And they put their own life on hold to make sure somebody else does well. There was a very interesting research study done recently in the United States where they looked at a sample of 4,000 Americans from across the country, trying to get a feel how broad-based this thing called heroism is. Philip Zimbardo was the one who conducted the research. What he found is that 20% of the persons surveyed actually did things that you could define as heroic. So a fairly large number of people actually did things. Many people actually, up to 70% actually reported helping somebody who was in a danger. Right? So there are many people who actually do things when it's necessary. 16% reported whistleblowing on injustice. See something happening, whether in your company or the company, and blow the whistle on it. Now, 16%, not a large number, but significant. Now, how we stay in Jamaica with that? Men are an informer. Huh? Every level of Jamaica, in every community in business, you know who a thief what. You know who doing what. But you don't say nothing. You're not a hero. Right? So that is serious. If 16% of their population could do that, I think we will do less than 1% in Jamaica. That's why crime is so rampant in Jamaica. So whenever you hear yourself saying this, I'm not an informer, finish the sentence. I am not an informer because I am in league with criminals. I am not an informer because I support criminals and I want them to be very successful at what they do. All right? Just say that. 6% reporting sacrificing for a non-relative or a stranger. Not one of these persons has been formally recognized as a hero. Nobody gave them any award or any such thing. So we're seeing that these behaviors are broad-based. One interesting thing that they did in the study now, to look at people who did heroic things. Interestingly, people who were in urban centers were involved in more heroic acts than rural area. Because clearly more dangerous things happen. I mean, what happened in the country? Rolling car run you down, breeze a blow at night time and the banana leaf and move and you think they'll dump you out. Right? But in Kingston, all kind of thing, huh? You go back, it's either a dump or a gunman, huh? Whichever one it is. They also found that people who had more education were more involved in heroic things. Because the more educated you are, the more you are aware of situations. People who had an experience of volunteerism were more likely to be heroic. And interestingly, more men did heroic things than women. Because, well, I'm not sure that the reason for that. Maybe because women tend not to regard a lot of their acts as heroic. They do it because they have to do it. They do it because it's the right thing to do. But more men were involved in heroic things. Also, people who actually survived some kind of personal trauma or disaster, people who have been through some kind of a tragedy, were more likely to do something heroic. Because who feels it knows it, having been there themselves. coming out of this research, one of the things that they decided that we could actually create more modern day heroes. And they started a program to actually encourage more people to be heroic. What they did, they started a website where you could go on the website and you could make the Hero Pledge, which is a public declaration to say that you are willing to be a hero in waiting. Huh? You are willing that anytime, anywhere you see something that needs to be done, anytime you see something that is wrong, anything that needs to be adjusted and so on, you will step in and do it without anybody begging you to do so. Can you imagine if more Jamaicans felt that way, as opposed to just being quiet in the face of injustice? I said, boy, me not talk, me never say nothing, me don't know where I'm going. I had a situation where this woman with a company that I went to do some work recently, and I asked her in an interview, you know, what was the most significant thing she did as a manager, and what was the most stressful? She said both were the same. This company had a program where when they had some very big promotional activities, and at the end of it, anything left over, the staff could keep. So on the last week of the promotion, she went and checked and see what they had left in there. All she saw in there, computer and stereo and all the prizes that had gone out, pen and cap. So all the cheap prize them give out, and all the big prize them leave inside. So she asked, how that? Everybody said them don't know. So she tell the staff, right, I soon come. I go into the office and I come back, see if they can figure it out for me. She came back 1 hour later, she asked the whole staff, anybody know how come all the cheap prize them give out over the months, and all the big prize them leave inside? So they can't get it. Everybody's silent. She said, well, there are some of you who planned it. I can't work with you now. There are some of you who know it was being planned and never said it to me. I can't work with you now. And the rest of you just hear about it a while ago and made no attempt to figure out how it was done. I can't work with you either. So either Uno leave or me leave, and me not leaving. She fired the whole staff. She fired the whole staff. That's hero. How many Jamaicans would have just gone along with the thieving business? And boy, I saw Jamaicans stay. I have a farm, and by the word is Jamganic. Jamganic, Jah, that's God, and then with the organic principles, that's how we combine it, you know. And because the first thing I deal with in my farm is spiritual principles. That tells us that we did not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrowed it from our children. See, if I leave it better, you come see it. There's a sign I have from my farm that says, attention thieves, make sure you walk with ID so we can notify your next of kin. Alright? We warn them. So basically what we're saying, folks, about this thing about being a hero, essentially it is possible to build the social habits of heroes. It's important for us to focus on others and shift the focus away from me, the focus away from we. There's a wonderful African saying that says, I am because we are. We are, therefore I am. If there was no collective, there would be no individual. Notice that it takes a village to raise a child. That's real. Poet John Donne wrote that no man is an island, entire to himself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sent to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. So every person is a part of humanity. Each person's pulse is part of the humanity's heartbeat. Heroes circulate the life force of goodness in our veins. And what the world needs now is more heroes. And every one of us have the option to be heroic. As long as we're willing to step up and do what has to be done, counting no cost to yourself, and expecting nothing in return, that we all benefit as a people. It is time for us all to take action against evil. If we don't, it means that we're in league with evil. Thank you very much.